morning.
Dr. Norton, you began by creating your own estimate of what Mr. Dawson's blood alcohol concentration was that night.
Yes, that's correct. I was able to speak to the defendant, and he gave me a report of what he drank, how often he drank, and I was able to use that to calculate what his BAC might have been.
Now, as you said, you used the defendant's account of what happened that night to determine what happened.
Yes, that's one of the factors that I took into consideration, of course.
And you made no effort to corroborate the story.
No, I was unable to.
And you plug these numbers into Dr. Widmark's formula.
Yes, it's a wonderful formula that allows us to take very simple variables, such as the time drinks were had and how many drinks were had. And when we apply those variables, we're able to come up with a rough estimate of a BAC.
Dr. Norton, you assumed when you were plugging these numbers into the formula that there was a standard amount of alcohol in each drink.
Yes, that's correct. Usually, when we're calculating, we assume that one shot equals one beer equals one mixed drink equals one glass of wine. It's the same amount of alcohol.
Dr. Norton, if, for instance, there wasn't a standard amount of alcohol in each drink, would your conclusions be off?
Certainly. If the drinks were weaker than I expected them to be, then Mr. Dawson's BAC would be lower than what I had calculated.
And if they were stronger, then you would assume, wouldn't the calculations also be a little lower than his actual BAC?
Yes, of course.
Now, Dr. Norton, you highlight some problems with the Intoxilator 8000.
Yes, I did. Unfortunately, there are numerous problems.
One of them is about Danny Dawson's blood temperature, isn't it?
Yes, that can skew the results of a breathalyzer test.
However, in this specific case, you assume that this was not an issue.
Yes, I determined that it wasn't.
You also talked about how mouth alcohol can play a role in skewing the test results.
Yes, that's always something we have to take into consideration when considering breathalyzer tests. It can skew results.
You identified a number of factors that may have led to mouth alcohol accumulating in the defendant's mouth.
Yes, there are numerous ways this can occur, such as burping, vomiting, or acid reflux. All of these will cause a higher BAC than what's accurate.
And one of them was recent dental work.
Yes, that can be possible. However, I determined that wasn't a factor in this case. Mr. Dawson hadn't had recent dental work.
Another factor could have been recent mouthwash use or mints.
Yes, again, that was possible, but I determined that wasn't a factor.
And another factor was heartburn and burping.
Yes, acid reflux.
Now, in the time after the defendant was arrested and before he was tested, the defendant couldn't remember burping or having acid reflux, could he?
He said he couldn't, that's correct.
Now let's go to your conclusion. You believe that the defendant's blood alcohol concentration was not below 0.08.
That's correct. Based on what he told me about how he drank, if my initial calculation was correct, that would be the minimum.
And as your final conclusion, you did state that it was inarguable that the defendant was too drunk to drive.
Yes, based on what he told me, if my calculations were correct, that's what I concluded.
Thank you, Dr. I pass it.
Here we go.
No redirect, Your Honor. We just ask that Dr. Norton be allowed to step down.
Is it done?